We really want to discourage folks from having candles in apartments because they are forgotten so often. So we prefer electric candles, and if we can avoid candles, that makes us very happy. It's a lot of the complexes outlaw them, but it's one of those things that's difficult to enforce. So candles are not our friends in most cases. So again, as I mentioned earlier, the smoke detector, you can see this is just a typical smoke detector. It would be mounted on a ceiling in an area where it would pick up on the smoke quickly. Again, it's just a simple battery. They are also electric plugged in, so the battery is just the backup. So they're actually plugged in, they're hardwired into the system. So again, we want to make sure that we're testing these on a regular basis to make sure that they're operating correctly. A lot of the apartment complexes have fire extinguishers either in the common areas in the hallways, or it's really typical for them to be under a kitchen sink. And knowing where the extinguisher is in your apartment complex is a big deal, because if you're the first time you know about the extinguisher is once you have a fire and you're looking for it at that point, it's not very helpful and just causes panic. So know where your extinguisher is, take a look at it, know how to use it. It's really simple. So as we work our way around the kitchen, you can see here is a typical coffee maker. So coffee makers, toasters, irons, items like that. These are items that once we're done with them, we're going to want them unplugged. So we're going to store these things unplugged. As we work our way around to the microwave, remember with the microwave that we're not going to put metal in the microwave. And one of the other common things we see with the microwave is somebody trying to put 1 minute on the microwave. Well, they put 1 hour on it. Again, if you're not paying attention, about 10 minutes after the microwave's going, you start smelling smoke throughout the apartment. So that's a common thing. With both electric and gas stoves, once these burners are hot, they remain hot for a while. So we want to make sure that we always keep the stove tops clear and that we're not storing things on top of there. It's really common for somebody to have a pizza box on top of here. They think they're turning the oven on, but really they're turning one of the burners on. So then next thing you know, a few minutes later, you got apartment smoked up, or the cabinet's on fire because you have a pizza box that was left on top of there. Also, one of the other things we discourage is storage in the oven. Storing materials in the oven, again, cutting boards, pans with plastic handles, all those things. If they're stored in the oven, people forget about them. They turn the oven on to preheat for their meal, and by the time it's finished preheating, your oven's 450 degrees, and you have a small fire in the oven. And again, smokes up the apartment, causes problems with the potential of having the fire escape there. And again, if we have a grease fire on the stove, anything that's on the stove, the best bet is to turn the stove off and cover it. Again, covering it's the best way, especially with the grease fire. You throw water on it, you're going to make things a lot worse. So cover it. If you can't cover it, try the extinguisher. Just don't throw water on the grease fires. So again, working through the apartment as we move back around this way, you can see we have a couple examples of extension cords. And again, I mentioned earlier, this is a standard extension cord. This is the kind that we wouldn't want to use for anything other than just a very short period of time because it is not designed to be a permanent wiring. This is a power strip, and so a power strip, these are actually designed to hold multiple things. They actually have a circuit protector in there, so these are what we prefer. We prefer a power strip for multiple, if you got your laptop and your cell phone charger and your Xbox and your TV, and they have to all be on one for whatever reason, we prefer the power strip because it protects your devices too. So it's definitely the way to go. So it keeps us from overheating the outlet because we have a circuit breaker in here that will go off prior to causing any problems with the regular electrical system. Again, this is a typical sprinkler head. You can see we have 3 in this room here. So again, it's just that pendant there. They hang down, or sometimes they can come out of the wall. There's a small glass tube in there that senses heat. When it gets hot enough, the glass tube breaks, and that causes the water to flow, which turns on the sprinkler system, sets the alarm off for the building. All those things happen automatically based on that piece of glass breaking. So again, we don't want anything hung from there. We don't want anything touching it, and keeping it clear and keeping it any decorations or anything away from it is very helpful. And again, it can cause major problems because once that water starts flowing, it's not going to be it's going to be more than a few minutes before it's shut off. So other than that, we can maybe look at one smoke detector on the ceiling over here and just show what's common. So again, the way the fire code is now, in the city of Austin, we want a smoke detector outside of each sleeping area and then one inside of each sleeping area. And so we want them in an easy area to access on the ceiling. We don't like them in the kitchen or near the kitchen area because they get activated by cooking, and then they become a nuisance, and then people take the batteries out or turn them off. So again, this is perfect what we want. We want one on the ceiling that operates outside, and we want one inside of each of the sleeping areas. And that's the best way for us to protect you in your room, sleeping with your door closed, and then you have protection outside and you have protection inside.